Welcome to today's morning power up call, guys. This is going to be a fun one. So, real quick, as far as announcements go, we do have a live copy review that will be held today, later this afternoon, 2 p.m. MST. It's about 5 hours from now. So, I will be announcing the lucky 5 who were selected, and we will be commencing that call again in about 5 hours from now. If you've never attended one of these live, if you can, I highly recommend you do, because I open up to general Q&A as we go through the program, or as we go through the different emails, break down different things, or the different copy that have been submitted. I always open it up for you guys to get an opportunity to ask questions. So if I'm talking about subject lines for an email or the right CTA for a Facebook ad or something, and you have questions about that, I always let you ask me those questions at the end of each piece of copy to review. So if you would like to ask me questions about things and learn firsthand from me, this is an excellent opportunity for you to do so. I also open up to general Q&A at the very end. So if you have other questions that you'd like to ask me on a video face-to-face format rather than the Ask Professor Andrew channel, that's the place to do it. I hope to see you on the call. If not, there's a replay you can watch later, but it's so much better if you can make it live. So that's happening later today. Keep your eye on announcements for more information. You can scroll up and see the time and the link and all that stuff. It's already in there, but I will post again so you guys can all make it to the call. Tomorrow, we will be doing a swipe file breakdown video where I will be going through the rest of the John Carlton ad and helping you guys analyze it and extracting as many possible gems from that old ad so you can increase your marketing IQ and improve the work that you're doing. So you want to attend that as well. Again, check announcements, all that stuff is in there. Let's dive in to the content. Let's talk about how you can control your attention and control your life. This is ultimately what is going to determine whether or not you're successful. Sure, intelligence is nice. Having certain advantages when you're born is nice, but ultimately your success in life comes down from your ability to control and invest your attention. If you are in control of your attention, you can control and influence your life. If other forces are in control of your attention, or if you execute the control of your attention poorly, you won't be able to be successful. You look at people throughout the dawn of time. If you look out at your life right now and think about the people you know, your friends, family, colleagues, things like that, you'll notice the people that have no ability to control their own thoughts, no ability to control their own life, and you can see where it takes them. If you look at people that are 50, 60, 70 years old and look at their lives and where they ended up, you can see that everything good that happened in their life came as a result of them making good choices. And everything poor about their life, or any form of living where they are unhappy, not in control, and suffering, has come because of their inability to control their own thoughts and control their own attention. And in today's call, I'm going to give you steps so you can take deliberate control of your attention. I have a lot of people come into the Ask Professor Andrew channel and they tell me that they struggle with worries or thoughts or fears, and they have a hard time getting those thoughts or fears out of their brain. And this call is going to help you get the tools you need to break out of those, let's say, negative spiral, those negative loops. If you've ever found yourself trapped on a day where you don't feel motivated, or a day where you are overwhelmed, or a day where you have thoughts that you just can't seem to get out of your brain, put a 1 in the chat. I want to see if this is something that those of you who are on the call are struggling with. If not, we'll talk about something else. But if this is something you guys would like to know how to stop forever, put a 1 inside the chat. And I will then proceed to tell you and kind of give you these 4 steps, these 4 key steps you can take in order to take control of your attention again, take control of your own mind. Yeah, okay. So we've got some people in the chat asking for this. We'll make it happen. All right, guys. Oh, wow, there's a lot of you. Yeah, this is a powerful one, right? This is something that every man who is on his way up and wants to become successful, but you have to learn this. At least subconsciously have to learn how to run through this process. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you these 4 steps. It's going to take you some time to learn how to apply it and develop the ability. But when you do so, it's going to give you the ability to control your own thoughts. Now, for those of you who have been around for a while, know that I like to think of the brain as 2 separate things. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that go into play with the human mind. But one simplification that I like to make when thinking about my mind and my thoughts that gives me a lot of power is to imagine that there are really only 2 parts of your brain. There is the will, there is the directing force, that part that decides what's going to happen, and then there's everything else. And I call that everything else the self, right? And thoughts come and bubble up inside of the self. But those thoughts aren't really, and I like to think that the true me is my will. It is that directing, driving force, that masculine force inside of my mind. I like to think of my true self, like my true Andrew Bass, is that driving force. And then everything else kind of serves that driving force. In my mind, that's how I like to think of it. And what's cool about this model is it gives you power over your thoughts. So when things come up, and we're going to talk about this in a later moment, when things come up, you can disassociate from them. You can say, this serves me, this doesn't serve me. And you believe you have power over them if you believe that you are this higher form of consciousness inside of yourself. So step one is you have to realize that you are made up of multiple parts. But really the true you, the part you really need to stay true to, the part that is going to be key to every major success that you have in life, is that will and your ability to control and direct yourself. One way to think of it is like a car, right? You're the driver. That's the will. You have your hand on the steering wheel, and the car is everything else. That's your thoughts, your memories, your skills, your behaviors, your knowledge, your information, your friends, your family, all that, like your body, all that stuff is sort of the car. But really at the heart of it, there's a driver, and that is your will. So that's what you have to understand. That's how the human brain works. However, there is a part of this that is important to remember. Your will isn't always driving the car, right? Not all the time. For most people, at least, their will, their deliberate intention, their deliberate driving force isn't always in control. Sometimes they take their hands off the wheel, right, and just kind of float. You'll see this, right, when people, and if you're on this call, you know this experience, and you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. When you scroll on social media, you're not driving anymore. You let go of the wheel, and now Instagram and the algorithm and the content creators, they're in control of the wheel. Or the wheel, that's the steering wheel of your car. They're driving your car. You can take back control anytime you want, but for a moment there, someone else is driving your car, right? Someone else is driving yourself. So the first step in being able to control your thoughts and control your intention is understanding that you have ultimate control at any given moment. You can always step in and choose to take control and drive your thoughts, drive yourself, control the direction for your mind. You have to realize that there exists this sort of split inside of your own mind. Now, I've talked a lot about this in other Power Up calls. There's a way to use this idea to enhance your creativity, enhance a whole bunch of things. But in today's call, where we're talking specifically about controlling your mind, controlling your focus, understand this. There is the will and there is the self. There is the driver and there is the car. And you always have the ability to, choice by choice, control your actions. You have to have that belief cemented firmly inside of your own mind. You have to realize that thoughts that bubble up don't necessarily mean anything. They only mean something if you choose to make them mean something. They only mean something if you choose to. You don't have to use them. You can feed them or you can destroy them, but it's up to you, right? So that's step number one. You have to understand that. Step number two, it is in your best interest to remove any, or at least minimize the control that any outside influences have on you. Now, you have to be careful here, right? Like, it's important to have some sources of inspiration. It's important to have respected mentors and sources of guidance that you can have. But I really highly recommend you don't just turn your brain off ever and just let someone else drive your car, yourself, your thoughts, right? Social, like consuming endless social media on just a feed, just turning your brain off and letting someone else or something else completely and entirely have its way with you is not a good strategy if you want to be in control of your thoughts and get in control of where you go. Again, essentially, that is like taking your hands off the wheel and letting someone else drive, and you're blind. Now, I like people and I trust like the people around me, but I'm not a big fan of just sitting back blindly letting someone else drive my car or my life. I like to be in control. Now, there are forces. Most of modernity is actually a control mechanism. It's all designed to control you and keep you small and keep you not with your hands on your wheel, and let society, let these greater forces drive your car. If you want to be successful and if you want to have the ability to control your own life, it is in your best interest to take the phone and put it in a different room. We just did the rectangle challenges last year. It felt like a year. It was a long week. We did this rectangle challenge where everyone kept their phone outside of their office, outside of their place of work, turned off, put away. And you go back and look at our last call, people talked about the major benefits they had. It's because you don't have this little device that is trying to take control of your life and drive your mind anymore. You have it away and you are driving your own life. That is one example of a way that you can minimize these forces that are deliberately trying to control your attention for evil, let's say, or for a a purpose that doesn't include your best interest in mind. So try and find these things and minimize them. There are all these different cycles, things like, and we talked about traps. There's a previous morning power up call where I talk about different traps. Almost all of them are things that simply take your attention and drag it off to something that isn't productive. Identify these traps and minimize their influence on your life. And one of the fastest ways to do this is to set your phone aside while you're working. While you're actually busily working, just keep your phone in another room. If you want to get your work done and want to be productive, that's the best way to do it. So now that you've removed outside things that are actively trying to tear down your own mind, this is where you get to apply some self-direction. If you're actively driving your own life, if you're actively setting intentions for yourself and controlling your thoughts, there's no empty space, there's no void for outside thoughts or outside things to come into play, right? Many of you have participated in martial arts training, have participated in sparring, or have at least been in a fight or some type of dangerous situation in your life. One of the cool things about that type of activity, one of the cool things about being in a fight or sparring, is there is absolute focus. Nothing else crowds in, right? You are completely in the moment. You are completely dialed in because you have to be, because you are fighting, right? What's cool about that is it illustrates this principle. That level of focus eliminates, there's so much there inside of your mind. You're so deeply focused and you're driving your will, so your mind so carefully because you have to focus because you're in a fight, that it drowns out everything else. There's no space for these other negative or distracting thoughts, these things that don't serve you. They can't pop up because there's no room for it, because you're so actively directing and thinking in your own mind the things you need to do to be successful in that moment. That's an excellent illustration of your default setting as you go through life. If you ever let go of the wheel or don't have a clear intention or aren't actively pushing forward, it leaves room for thoughts to more easily pop into your brain and distract you and take you different places. And I'm specifically talking about those self-defeating thoughts, right? Those ideas of, am I going to be enough? I'm worried about this, fears or anxieties, those types of things that don't actually serve you, don't help you win. Those things can sneak into your mind if you don't have it actively filled with something productive. So it's almost always best to be actively driving towards something valuable and important at any given moment, right? This is why I recommend the night before you go to sleep, you set an intention for your next day. You set an intention for every hour of every day. Everything that you're going to do the next day, you try and map it out. Now, obviously, your schedule is going to change as you have to adapt to different circumstances. But if you walk into the day with a clear intention, with something occupying your mind, it's going to be a lot harder for outside forces. If you're just sitting around drifting, empty-minded, hand off the wheel, it's a lot more likely that some negative thought or idea is going to come in and take you away, right? And steal your control of your life. And then it takes you down an avenue you don't necessarily want to go, right? So actively fill your mind with positive thoughts. This is where you choose. The things that you feed grow. The ideas that you feed and you hold inside your mind grow into reality, right? If you are constantly thinking about things that make you weaker, you'll become weaker. If you constantly think about things that make you stronger, you'll become stronger. A really common example of this that everyone knows, a bad example of this, is almost everybody has told themselves at least once in a 24-hour period, man, I'm tired right now, or man, I'm tired. That is filling your mind with that, and it only makes you feel more tired, right? It's an example of something that doesn't really serve you, right? To hold inside your mind. But the more you think about it, the more tired you feel. The more tired you feel, the less you're able to do good things. It's a self-defeating spiral, and it's because you've chosen to drive your car into the I'm tired thing, right? It's much, much better if you consciously set positive intentions that you know will help you win. You feed thoughts and ideas and movies of the future in your mind, only things that give you greater power and help you win. Now, obviously, you have to identify roadblocks, identify problems, but you should only focus on them with the attitude of, how am I going to solve this? I'm going to solve this. I'm going to win. How do I win? That gives you an ability to move through it without getting bogged down in the negativity there. So that's the third step. Set clear intention, focus, and hold things inside of your mind that make you stronger, and keep that there so that the outside thoughts, those negative things that are not there to help you, they can't creep in, right? So that's step number 3. The last step number 4, you have to realize that despite your best efforts, every so often thoughts will pop into your brain. Things that, again, your will be in control, but yourself, thoughts bubble up. That happens, right? Humans have thoughts. Sometimes those thoughts serve you, and sometimes those thoughts don't serve you. Now, if a thought bubbles up and it's something that you can think about that actively helps you win, if you ask yourself, does this thought, feeling, emotion, memory, question help me win? If the answer is yes, then feed it, use it, dive into that. That is something you should use and incorporate so that you can get what you want. However, if the question is, no, this really doesn't help me win at all, this doesn't give me any advantage on my path up, then simply dismiss the thought and focus on something else, right? And it might be hard. Sometimes there's these thoughts that come in, like if you're dealing with like a breakup, for example, thoughts might come a little bit more often. So you can either find a way to dismiss them, minimize them, and focus on something else, or you can flip those thoughts into fuel for something that will help you win. So let's say you have a thought, you can immediately either dismiss it, or you can, in your mind, reframe the way you look at that thought so that it turns into fuel, something that propels you forward, gives you more energy to do that task that that brave choice you need to make right now in order to push yourself further. That one thing you should do from your daily checklist or whatever it is in life, that one thing you need to do that perhaps scares you, but is the critical thing to help you get to the next level and win. So as thoughts come up, as they arise, as thoughts, feelings, emotions, you need to decide actively with your hands on the wheel. You need to decide, is this something that I want to incorporate? Is this something that is going to serve me and help me win? If so, I'm going to use it. I'm going to give it more attention. If it's something that doesn't serve me, if it's something that is actually going to hurt my ability to win, I'm going to dismiss it and let it fade away in the rearview mirror because I'm so busy pushing forward towards something better. If you apply these 4 steps, you're going to be able to gain greater control. If you can, again, we'll go through them again. Number 1, understand and believe and understand the concept of you are your will. You are that driving force, and you control your thoughts and yourself. You can influence them or direct them, and it's up to you to decide and drive your own life. Number 2, remove these attention killers, these willpower killers from your life. Things like just endlessly being on your phone, the influence of certain types of media. Make sure that you keep that away out of your life or extremely controlled. Number 3, fill your mind actively with positive thoughts. Be busy working. If you are busy working, it's hard for things to sneak in and actually take control of your brain because you are so actively pushing forward towards something vital and important. And number 4, when thoughts and feelings arise, decide whether or not they serve you. If they serve you, use them. If they don't serve you, either discard them or flip them into something that they can serve you. Only feed your attention and focus to things you want to grow inside of your life. My wife was an elementary school teacher, right? She studied elementary school education or whatever. And I remember she was in one of her classes at one point about classroom management. And they're talking about how to help these little kids stay on task and focused. And one of the sayings that I remember her telling me about was, you said, where attention goes, behavior grows, right? So, and I thought that was extremely applicable to so many things in life, right? What you focus on, what you think about, what you hold in front of your mind grows inside of you. So if you can become the person who's in control of your attention and control of your focus, actively driving your own life, then you can choose which behaviors, which actions grow inside of you, which character traits grow inside of you. If you leave your hands off the wheel, who knows what's going to grow inside of you? Probably not good things. If you leave yourself to just go to the path of least resistance, that never leads where you want to go. You want to actively drive your life. Choose what you focus on. Choose powerful thoughts that make you stronger. Make that the core focus and the intent of your life, and you will be able to do more than those who simply sit back and let someone else drive their own life. My friends, I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope these 4 steps are things you can use to take control of your life, take control of your attention, and win. This is how I view the world. This is how I view thoughts and thinking and emotions and controlling my focus. And it's what has allowed me to do what I do. It's what has allowed me to remove things that drain my energy and instead focus on things that increase my energy. It's things that have helped me move forward and increase my competency instead of being distracted by outside forces that want to make me weak. It's what's helped me become strong and happy, is by controlling my focus this way and using my controlled focus to do certain key tasks that have improved my life. And I want you guys to all do the same. So guys, go ahead, review these 4 points, keep them in your mind. I'll talk with you guys later today on the live copy review. This has been a good call. I'll talk with you guys again later. Take care. Use this. Go make some money. Talk again soon.